Are you
Rajesh,
able?
over to you.
Sure. I'm sharing my screen. Just let me know if you're able to view my screen.
Yeah, we can.
We are
Okay.
able to see.
Thank you. Yeah. So today we'll be discussing.
Yeah, go to slideshow mode, Rajesh.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. So we'll be discussing about the file connector, how exactly it works, and it is one type of integration which we'll be discussing about. So with file connector, we'll be looking into the whole process and write a new file and how to read. And there's a so I'll give a brief explanation how to read and move it, and we'll look into the few scenarios and how do we connect to the to set up a server. So brief discussion about it. So I'll be taking a simple example. So and freshers as well as the experience. So whatever the knowledge I have, I'm trying to share it from my end. If any questions in between, please do let me know. So I'll be stopping in between, and accordingly we can discuss further. So let's take it further. So before we start into our file connector, let's share an example. So let me share. Let me open Paint. The example. So in order to integrate a file connector, so so what you can do is before we create an integration between, you need to have an example wherein we should analyze a picture, two systems in between. This is system one and system two, and we'll be creating an integration between these two. So the basic picture or analysis which we need to have. So this is the starting phase of an integration. So as most of you might be fresher, so they want to be part of it and how exactly integration works. So this is how it works. So from the mule, how to interact with this one system to another system. So this is where it comes in, and then there is a source system which comes in where your integration gets triggered. So basically, example, this will be a so this is a source system, and target system. This is my source and source system. So we will be looking into exactly the data gets in and what is the technology which comes in and how to get the request. So basically with the HTTP request, we will go ahead and send the request through browser. So that is where a HTTP listener comes into picture, and that's where the source part works in. And example, so let me so in between through HTTP, we get the data and go into an integration system. In the similar way, we will have a source system through file. So what does the source system do? So at some point of time, it will create some data over here and place the data inside the file, and it will communicate with us. Example stating that, oh, hey, this is my file and this is how it works. And how through Mule, how exactly we read this file, then we will check into that particular process. So how to interact with these files from Mule? So we will look into this particular session of today. So coming to the next example. So in order to interact with files, so there are four connectors if you can look into my presentation. So example, the file, FTP, SFTP, and FTPS. To in order to connect with a single file. So these are the four different connectors which we have, which has the same operations. If you look into the file and go to Mule palette and drag and drop, add the modules of the file, FTP, SFTP, you will have all the same operations. It's just that the configuration differs. It's just the operation remains the same. So the example, sorry. So so where is your mule and where is your source system keeping the file? So suppose example. So uh, I'm working as I'm not working into a local laptop. So this is my local laptop. Just treat this as sorry for my diagrams and stuff. I'm trying to give you a brief explanation how to make you guys understand. So this is my laptop, and what I'll be doing is, so in this laptop somewhere my mule is working. Something is up. I need to take another. Sorry about it. Something has been stuck. So examples. So this is my laptop. Somewhere my mule is working. So this is where mule is working. So if I keep a file in the same laptop, example, this is my file. So file which has to read in the same machine where my mule is running. Then you don't need to have connect this particular system, because your source system and mule runtime is been existing in the same system. So you don't have something like a connector or a server to go ahead and have a port number. You just, if you just know the path and the file name, you can just go ahead and connect it if it is in the same planet. So in this particular time, we will just go ahead and the file connector, so which is nothing but the file operations. So 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 this is my file connector. So generally files will be exchanged. This example, uh, so example, this is my so if I want to expose my files to someone else, so this is my laptop and mule runtime is in some other. So I want to expose a file. Okay, like different systems, and wherein I want to expose it. So different systems are available in the network. So one system want to share the file, example. So when we share something to anyone or any other system, we cannot share everything we have, right? We can just share some part of it. So we will not share everything, because whatever the requirement, we will just go ahead and share it. And so in the current mission, what we'll do is, sorry, so they will create some partition or a location, and then they will allow or share others to this particular access this particular content of the file. So how do they access the shared location? This allow others access by sharing. So we will look at how exactly it gets shared, or rather how does it reach to this particular destination. So it depends upon the source system. So this is how it gets connected. And in order to share this particular space in the machine, you can share either with the help of enabling FTP. So FTP is also it's similar to like a HTTP protocol and stuff. So even they can share, or else we can share with PS with some security, and then something FTP as well. They have, so this is FTP. Your source system will tell you, example, hey, access my file. So this is my host name, and they will tell you where does this machine exist, and details they will tell you is what is the host name. Example, so I'll website. What is my host name? What is the username? And what is my password? It will not allow everybody to access it, right? Only the people who's working in this, who is responsible for this or dedicated to this particular resources, then only they can. So depending on this protocol, you will have a port number. So example, PP is by default it's 21, and this is example 22. So this is the default port numbers which is connected. So from Mule, if you want to connect from the source to target system who is exposed to a file called FTP connector. So in the same way, this is how it gets connected, whatever the requirement is there. And if it is an SFTP, we will go ahead and connect SFTP. So it depends on your source system, how it was been exposed. So what is the difference? It is the only way you're connecting it. So that's the only terminology which will be looked to the system and to a target system. And so establish the connection. And if I have a file in the shared location, then it is, then I'll go ahead and perform the same action. So example, connector it is, we will connect the same operations. So, so basically it's like a mule source event listener. So what we'll do is, so example, there is a file, right? You cannot initiate the request from the browser. So this is a file. You cannot initiate the server from the browser. You will have a source event listener. So in the mule flow, then we will have a source event listener. So example, this is a point which needs to trigger, or else I'll just draw it here. And sending a request from the browser through source. We use HTTP normally. To by sending a request through browser, we will use HTTP listener. If I don't need HTTP listener, then I have my source event listener from the file connector, which is nothing but an on your update, which is a profile connector out of the 4. So which is nothing but on your update. So what does it do? It will go ahead and check whether my file existed in the given particular location or a path. So basically, is it located in my FTP? So located in SFTP, is it located in FTPS? Then it will go ahead and check, and it will go ahead and check, and we will configure a path. Example, so within the path, you might have n files. So you might have different. So then again, you will go ahead and see what type of a file you need to check it. So you will mention a file pattern. There's nothing but a file pattern. So that's where you will be go and give the particular file pattern, whether it's a CSV or a Word or a text file or whatever the file you want to go ahead and identify. So you might have a number of directories. So you go to the specific directory and mention that particular pattern. So it works in. So example, I'll take the example as student CSV example data. So I'm taking as a format called student.csv. So every minute, so this check every minute, every day, some duration, we will be configuring it. So then we will go ahead and configure this duration. So this 3 most important parts, go ahead and configure in the on new file and update, which acts as a source, and it gets checked on a so example, if I want to read the content of a file for every duration, like 1 minute, every minute, and then I want this to be read and hand over to next processor. So it will create the mule event, hand over, hand over the mule event to the event processes. So that's how it gets connected. So what is the mule event and what does it contain? That let's go ahead and look into the small example and see how exactly it works. So this is what your source, and then as I mentioned, so it will read the content of the file, and based upon the source event processor, if the file exists, it will read it. And at the same time, and the same way, if you want to write it, you have write operations, and 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 so on. If you move it, and you will have a move processor, and that is where it go ahead and does the operation. So let's go into a small example. So let me go to this and create a small new project just as a example, as a demo file. Just mention demo. So let me wait until it comes in. It gets created. setting today's run system. So now as we see, we don't have any file. So example, if I search through file, so under file and FTP, I have the operations which I have these many modules which are available. So simple. I'll just go ahead and add the module. So for the time being, let me add a for the file. So if you can see, so under file, I have these many modules. If you can see, copy, create, delete, list, move, you. So in order to use a file connector, so if I go into the next, you can see add a file to a project. So as per the screenshot, so this is the operation which we have. So we will go ahead and the on your update as I'm talking about. So this will be acting as a event source. And so what is that we will be looking into it? We will use poll for a new file and print the contents in the file. One of the example, if the time permits, we'll look into it. Send the file name for HTTP request through web browser. We will access the file read option from the Mule processes. And the example 3, it's like it will poll for a file and write the contents of a file into a new file. So it will write it and that will write into a new file and it will create through this particular operation. So let's go ahead and look into the example. So I'll just go ahead and so I'll take log example. I'll just make I read and content was read. So this is so so if the file was identified and content was read, when will this happen? When the file has been and then it will print the message called message which is there in the logger. So let's go ahead and configure in the on your update. So I can see there's nothing. So I'll just go ahead and click on add and so I'll just click on OK. You don't have to do anything. For the file connector, you don't have to do much configuration, just on OK. My directory, I'll just go into the directory wherein I have created a small description over there. There's nothing but a file. And within the connector, sorry. Yeah, so I have created a new file. Yeah, this is where it is. So this is where I used it. Location over there. So example, we can see. I'll just take it outside and local file or folder. I have given. So if you can say this is my data which I have mentioned. So this data represents the data of a students, and these are the headers which I mentioned. And it will give the details if it has been identified. So now, so the location I've given was this is FTP connector. This is a which I used. So you can see there's nothing there, nothing inside. So what I'll do is over here. So this is where I've used. So we use this particular integration. You will get to know where is your file, which location, and looking for what kind of a file in this particular context. So in this particular context, I have something called CSV folder. So I have chosen the directory and provided the value in this location. Okay. What I need to do is I need a matcher. So matcher is nothing but edit in. So in this, what is this matcher? So you may have, as I mentioned, you may have a number of files. You might have wide, you might have notepad, and whatever the formats you have. So you wanted to read one particular file. So matcher is nothing but, so it's like you're giving, you wanted to give inline editing inline through a condition. There's something called file name pattern. So that is where you'll give that particular file name pattern. So so I'll just go ahead and copy paste it.
Rajesh.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, in the same context, there is a question from the Virendra. So,
Okay.
what all file formats supported by FTP and SFTP modules?
What are the file formats? File that supports FTP. Y- for supports all type of formats. Frankly speaking, when I worked Word, so what exactly format you're looking for, Virendra? So any particular format you're looking into it?
Maybe Virendra, you can post it in the chat. Okay. So kind of maybe if kind of zip file or PDF, is any specific file you are looking for, or you wanted to see the list of files are supported. Yeah, yeah, kind of see zip file dot JPEG.
JPEG, I'm not really sure about JPEG, but mostly, you know, when so as per my experience, the basic ones, the PPT or something, uh, yeah, Excel, it supports. I'm not really sure about JPEG.
Yeah,
Does
it
it?
supports the PDF. Yeah.
Yes, PDF also it supports.
See, it reads in the binary format, guys. Okay, whatever format it is, you can read it. It will be in the binary format. Then
Okay.
later
And
you can do mind
what
type.
is
Yeah.
the? Sorry, sir. Please go ahead.
No, no, Rajesh, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. And coming to the FTPS and SFTP, right? So FTPS is like, it's kind of a secure encryption, I would say, message encryption, secure messages. So that is a secure a bit of authentication you will provide. And coming to the SFTP, it's similar to FTPS. It allows you to authentication, but through SFTP you have allows you to authenticate connectors through username and password. So it also lets you take some kind of advantage, public key authentication, multi-factor authentication, as I mentioned, SSH over FTP.
Yeah, I'll add one more point here,
Sure.
Rajesh. So SFTP is more secure than FTPS. Okay. So actually, both are different protocols altogether. Okay. And in SFTP, only one port number will be used for entire communication. Okay. For authentication and for the file, data transfer, only one port number will be used. But in case of FTPS, there will be two channels. Okay. One will be your command channel and one will be your data channel. Okay. So at security point of view, you need to open more ports for FTPS, and for SFTP only one port. So that is what the basic difference between. So generally, if you want to recommend someone, only recommend SFTP. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ashish.
Yeah.
What is the maximum? Al says that the connector can read. I think there is no limit. I guess it can read the data, because you are just using a connection in between.
Yeah, so that's again depends on which worker you are and what is the
Exactly.
the configuration of your worker. Okay, you can use the streaming option to read whatever size you wanted to read. There is an option to read the file which is bigger than your RAM. You can use a streaming option. So as such, there is no limit. Okay, but definitely if you're deploying on point one vcore and start reading 10 GB file, not possible, right? So
Exactly.
So it depends on how. If you are aware of what is the file size, accordingly you can give the your worker configuration during your deployment. Yeah, go ahead,
Okay.
Rajesh.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So I'm trying to give a file pattern name. So then take this.
Yeah, one more question, Virendra, from Virendra, Rajesh.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
what is the recursive option in on new updated file connector? Recursive option is
What the use of option? Think about it.
as per my and by looking at the name, right? So on one folder, let's say one directory you are polling, right? So this on new is basically kind of polling, right? So it checks the subfolders. Yeah, Rohit, thanks. Yeah, so it goes, in hierarchy it
Yeah.
will go till deep and search for all the files. That's what the recursive.
Yeah. Thanks for that. I was stuck in between, actually.
Okay, yeah, you carry on now. Okay,
Yeah.
so I think questions are done.
Sure. Thank you. So what is it we are doing is I'm just giving a file pattern to ensure that you know the file name pattern instead of path name pattern. So my file name is students01 is what it is being created or by you, and at the same time I'll be scheduling the strategy. So example, by default it is been taken as the for every second. So 1000 milliseconds is nothing but 1 second. So I'll just take 10 seconds example. Let's go ahead and look into it and debug it. How oh, you can see my path has been given as in, and as my pattern name is in folder. What it does is, and let's see if it read or has been identified. There is a file because there is empty inside it, and it will not make much noise over there. So what noise means over here is, if my file is present in folder, then it will give trigger stating that, okay, hey, this is my file and this is my CSV file which has been read, and that's how you'll get the log printed, and it will just keep calm for every. So I see as every 10 seconds it should check if there is no file, like any noise as I mentioned. So let's see how exactly it does what I'm trying to explain you over here. So let's wait until it gets deployed. It's taking some time. Please be patient. It's trying to calm. Yeah. So it is deployed. So now, so if you can see, so now it's like 11:38 and 48 seconds. Let's wait for some 10 seconds as I time limit. So it's not making any message, or it's not giving any message. So what I'll do is I'll just try to go ahead and insert this particular file. Now we'll see whether this has been read. So let's see within the next 10 seconds. See it. So what does it says? File has been identified and content was read. So if you can see the time, 11:39 and 19 seconds, and after 10 seconds it is giving me the message again. So every 10 seconds as per the frequency which I've given, so it read because it has been identified. So again, example, what it has been read, I wanted to know. I'll just go ahead and give. I'll just give a payload. What exactly is being printed? I'll just, I know most of you know. I'm just trying to go ahead and give some explanation. At the same time, if I want to pause, so you can just go ahead and use and add a breakpoint. So that's where you will see what has been what all things which has been confirmed, what is it going to be printed. See, so message for me, whatever it has been identified, it has been read by the logger through a payload as an expression which I have given. So this is about a on new on file over here. So before I go into a FTP connector, so any questions?
We are good, Rajesh.
Okay, thank you so much. So let me stop this. So, so this is all about the file connector which I've used, which is in the same system, wherein how to go ahead and connect and read the file. Now, I'll be to the FTP connectors. So what happens is, so let me go and nation again. So what I have is I have a system. There is a file over there, and on the file, my MuleSoft has been running in my system, and this has been connected. So through this, and I have a file connector which I've used, and this is my FTP connector example. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm going ahead and trying to give this explanation as a this is my SFTP or FTP, SFTP, and FTPS. So now I wanted to connect the system. So as I mentioned, expose the file to through FTP from one system to another system. So from one system to another system. So what I'll do is, so as I'm using the only, I will go ahead and the example in the same machine. So what I have done is, so I went and installed a server name called the FileZilla from the software. So when you go ahead and so it's a setup, you just go ahead and use this setup and there. So when you search in the online, you'll get this. This is one of the recommended most set. So this is pretty easy. This is how I'll get it. And before I connect this particular server here, I'll just cancel. So this my server gets connected. So example, let me disconnect it. I'll connect to this FileZilla. So this is my new successfully connected. If you can see, now I have already created something called the username demo one, which so how do you do that? You can click on the configure option over here. So you'll get a dialog box over here. So then I need to set up a listener. So server listeners. So how do you do that? I'll just click on add and give a local host. So this is my local system. So whatever the address, example, if you have another system, just give the host name over here and the port. I'm going to use for the timing as an example. So the port name by default is 21, which I'll be updating here. And you ignore the protocol here. So then I ex so then how do I expose? So then I create a new user over here, and through new user, I'm giving a username and the same password, you know, mule demo for the same, or else you can give the same password and you will have different options. You if you don't want to give password and if you want to give system credentials, well, good. So that's up to you. Then I have created the group also. So within the group, what is the virtual path by default? It will be a forward slash and a native path. So example, my FTP, where exactly it should connect. That's where I'll give the path over there and give all the permissions to it, and then to the users, and under the users, the same operations which I go and give and apply for it. So this is, so it will give me the option. So once you apply it, just click on OK. So it will go ahead and give it. So now what we'll do is, I'll just try to remove this because this is my file. What I'll do is I'll add my FT module over here, and within it, as I mentioned, the operations remain same, whether it's a file, FTP or SFTP. So, and as you can see, you have on your update of file. So what you will do is, I'll new update. So through FTP. So then before I go ahead and give configuration, I need to have extra software which is called as FTP. So if you can go ahead and Google it. So example, just for reference purpose, FTP clients for Windows. Example, I'm using Windows. I can just, that's the reason I'm searching as. So by default, you will have a number of list over here normally. So this is how it is. So these are the server clients which I have. So I downloaded the WinSCP. So once you download, even your FileZilla's client also. So once you download and install, so it will ask for a connection. Okay, so this, so just go ahead and WinSCP. So we are trying to go ahead and connect a remote mission. So on what protocol we are connecting? Simple FT. So you will have different options, SCP, SCP, and Amazon S3. You have different host name and stuff. So by default, my host name is localhost, and port number is 21. And username which I have given was mule demo, and the password remains the same. So it's trying to connect the local host. So can you see? So my remote system has been, so this is my local system and this is my remote system inside. So request has been accepted. Now I want it within the remote machine. So example, I have deleted it. I don't have this particular file. So sorry. So let deleted it. So what you can do is from your local system to remote has been connected. You can, if which has to be read or connected or do the operation. Okay, I think
You deleted the same file.
okay,
Rajesh.
same file I have deleted. So let me create the same one more. Where is it? I'll just go into the browse and just go into file operations itself and click on OK. So this is my path. This is my local path, and I wanted to copy this into my remote system. I'll just go ahead and drag and drop it. So if you can see, it has been updated here. So then, in order, so I don't have to copy the entire thing. So for the FTP connector, the path will be only this. So coming to the configuration, I'll just go ahead and update the configuration. Let's go ahead and update. So for the FTP, the host is local host. The same thing which you need to give the details over inches, and mule demo. My password remains the same. And before you go ahead and execute, try to go ahead and test the connection. Ensure that it has been successfully connected. Yeah, test connection is successful, and click on OK. And directory, I'll just mention in, and same thing, matcher, the configuration, all same thing, it remains same. So go to edit inline, and my so my file pattern is nothing but it's the same again. I'll just go ahead and copy paste the same pattern. Just scroll down, and my frequency. So just give the same frequency, or else as per the requirement, if you want to give something, please go ahead and do that. So this has been changed. Yeah, so let me keep this logo as it is and go ahead and so clear my console and go ahead and debug my file. Or else let me stop here. Over here I don't have to give the entire, I just got an idea. So you can just mention .csv as well. Just wanted to use this particular format because that's how it should work. So with extension, if something which has been there, it will try to find that particular file. Let me see. So through WinSCP, we are going ahead and connecting the like inbound to outbound, which is nothing but your local to remote mission. So this is how you go ahead and connect it and drag and drop it, and you wanted to connect it through MuleSoft. This has been deployed. So if you can see, this has been read successfully. So it went ahead and connected to the file, the system, different system. The file had connected through the configuration, and it has read the example and read the file. What is that we have learned is that I go into a next course of explanation. Any questions? To
There is a question from Virender. Like, suppose I have a large file like for 400 MB. Within that file, some records got failed while processing. How can I handle that?
So so whenever there's an approach follow connector, same approach. So in that case, if I'm not wrong, if got failed while processing, how can I handle that? And you just wanted to know what error is it, right? Or
Error handling should be there.
exactly, error handling should be there, and you can use error on error continue if you wanted to continue the process, and try option as first. You can keep a try option within the try. You can keep error handling.
Yes, then whatever approach we follow in file connector, same approach can be used in FTP or SFTP.
The approach we follow in the file connector. Yes, we can go ahead and use the same. That's what I'm saying. The operations remain same. So in file, sorry.
Can I use batch process for failed records?
Yes, you can use a batch process. So simultaneously, it will give the failed records as well. That is also an option.
No, Rajesh, in this I will add like batch process will just say like how much success and how much is fail. So the error handling should be like created in a way, in such a way like if there is if the records are getting failed, like you said on air continuous, then you should be like saving that message or saving that payload or data to somewhere so that because if you are using file connector, now suppose you are using the file connector and you will give a command like if everything is processed, then delete the file from that folder so that you don't need to re execute or reprocess that file again. So in that case, when the delete will work, it will only work when everything is success. If there will be any failure, then your process will stop. In case of honor propagate, your process will stop, and again you are going to reprocess the file. So you need to have an error handling in such a way where you're logging that failed record, so that you're creating another file out of that, so that you can reprocess, or you can go through why was the error, and you can rectify that. If you are using batch processing, it will only give you the success and failure record. In that, you need to maintain different batch tab, then one for the success and one for only failure. Then it will be used. Okay. But
Oh,
ultimately, you need to have a process which is saving the failed record, so that you can process this later. And the original record which you have taken from the file connector, that should be deleted. Otherwise, it will reprocess if it will be there in the folder. So that is a logic, like that is a API structure you need to create in that case.
Thanks, Abhishek. Hope you understand, Virender. From question from Prabhakar, can we read two files at the same time?
I think it can read two connectors, sorry, two files at the same time. If I'm based upon the requirement, no, I would say based upon the asynchronous process strategy, if I'm not wrong.
Uh, but at a time, one file can be
At a
read.
time, like if you are
Yeah.
taking, if you're
So
taking at a source,
exactly. So what exactly you want, Prabhakar? To read from the source or from the processor you're talking about?
Even we have the read operation, right? Even that we will be right at a time, one at a time we can read it. Read from a source. Yes.
Only
One at a time.
one at a time.
Okay. Mm, yeah. We, we are good, Rajesh.
Yeah. So basically, so this is I just wanted to explain about the file connector and how exactly the FTP uh, works on. So to give a reiteration or brief explanation again, so basically it implements you know transport channel. So whenever you wanted to use a FTP connector and you wanted to exchange files from one server to another system, or the way you configure something which you wanted to write, so based upon requirement and based upon your project something, so you will go ahead and use the same operations by so if you want to read it, you will use the read operations and give the path name, and something you want to write it from this processor itself, you can go ahead and give those few small examples, and that's how it gets connected. And it is one of the, so it, like it gives you it process them as a mule messages. Basically, message can be uploaded as a files to a directory through remote FTP server wherever you wanted to give. And by default, the inbound, it will pick the file, and at the same time, as Abhishek had mentioned, the important one, something which you don't want to have, and you can delete it, something which is not it's a, if the behavior is not up not up to the mark what it has been required, then you can delete from the source folder also. You can give a number of options by giving the configurations and by giving the operations and giving the logics over there. So this is where it gives so this is what I wanted to explain about the file and the FTP, how exactly it works, and the basic idea of it. uh,
hey Rajesh, sorry, I was dropped. So is that answer that question? Multiple one.
Sorry.
That question which we were
Yeah,
talking
it has
about.
been
Yeah.
answered.
Okay.
And so I got a question from survey: when using a new update operation, how file radius control between.
Yeah,
Anything? Yeah, I'm stuck actually. I'm not able to understand this question
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. So there is a cluster, right? So if you have servers, multiple servers and cluster, you deploy your your solution to that cluster. Ashok, there is option to have run on primary node. Okay, that will take care of it. Run on primary node. So in
And
cluster there
and,
is a bit.
yeah, and just to add, like if you want to know like from your platform which one is the primary node, there will be star on that node,
Yeah,
which will identify,
are
okay, this is the
associated
primary
with
node.
that. Yeah. Okay, Rajesh. Yeah. One more question.
If there are multiple file formats which needs to be read, then which one will read first? Is there any pattern? See, based upon the pattern name, file pattern name which you give, Sasta. So, example, it's not the priority or so based upon the path name, the priority, what do you say, the file which you give, that's how it will read it. Yeah. Yeah. So, I would like to conclude over here. Uh, how so that this is how you go ahead and use the file. The operations remains the same. If it is a file, this is based upon if it is in the same system, you just go ahead and use the file connector uh, module over here. And at the same time, if you're trying to connect from different system, and if you wanted to use some secured level, then FTP. So again, all these options remain same. It's just that the configuration settings and the functionality also remain, and that's how you will go ahead and try to you configure the inbound and outbound to send the file destination, the particular destination. And sometimes you can go ahead and configure FTP connector or SFTP for that matter, connecting like in as the outbound as the FTP connector in the message process. So example, the source remains the FTP also, and at the same time FTP in the, so based upon the region of the mule flow, it will go ahead and execute it further. So yeah, I think that is what I wanted to discuss in today's session.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you
Hey,
so
I
much, Raj.
want to share my experience with everyone. Okay. So yeah, Rajesh, be on there. Be on there.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, yes,
you
yes.
have Anypoint Studio open, right?
Oh,
Just be
yes.
there. Yeah, just share your screen, please.
Sure.
So best practices, right? So when you are reading the file, let's say you want to read, I mean, you want that data in, multiple location. So you can go ahead with the streaming option. There is option called, you have multiple streaming options, file store, in memory. And if you really don't want to read that file again, right? If you want only once, if you don't have any scatter gather kind of stuff, right, you can go ahead and select the no repeated mode. Okay, so there is a repeated mode. You can click on that. Yeah, Rajesh, click on that on new.
Oh, sorry, this one. Yeah.
And when you're reading the file, right, go to advanced mode. Advanced left hand side, there is advanced.
Yeah, I
So
clicked on this.
here streaming mode is there, right? So
Yes.
this by default file store will be there. Okay. If you really don't want that to be in read multiple times, there is option to
Non-repeat.
non-repeatable mode. Okay. So non-repeatable mode always works faster than the other two options. But
Yes.
if you want to read that multiple times, then go for the
Repeatable.
repeatable mode. And if your file size is little smaller, then you can go ahead and use the memory option, not the file store.
Yeah.
So file store will be always IO operations, right? So it will be little slower than the memory one. But if you studied and you know that what will be the input size, yeah, go ahead and accordingly you take the decision. Then one thing is when you're reading the file, right, so there is option, Rajesh, can you click on my mime type?
Yeah.
Better you give a mime type here. So while reading itself, it will convert that binary stream into the according to that mime type. Okay. So for
Yeah.
example, if you select CSV here, select CSV. So with the CSV, one thing you can notice in CSV, you can have value separator. The splitter will be there, right? Delimiter we call it. So it won't be always a comma, right? What if something else come in place of comma? Let's say I use the or operator there. What happens? How will you read that file? Right? Any answers from the community? So there is a CSV file, but instead of comma, they gave the or operator as a delimiter. So you have option here, add parameter. Click on add parameter, Rajesh.
Separator.
The moment you select MIME type as
Even.
CSV, right? You can select here key parameter. See here. There's what kind of quote here. Is there a double quote or single quote? Always there will be different, kind of standards, right? In the CSV. Go to separator. You'll find in separator you can mention that. Okay, I'm going to use the you need to type it or operator instead of comma. No. There is a
Pipeline.
character, right? Pipe, not that one.
Okay, you're talking about the pipe. Yeah.
Yeah, pipe. Okay, so this will help you. So in the source, in the first event source itself, your flow or your mule runtime will understand, okay, this will be your CSV file, and inside the CSV file I am going to read according to this separator, not comma. Okay, so you can have that best practice.
It's like the way you delimit in Excel. You're just going ahead and giving the operation here itself.
Correct. So these are already there. Don't try to reinvent the field. Okay.
Yeah.
Generally, we will get confused, right? And we'll start
Exactly.
try handling that inside the event processors. But event source itself has a capability of doing it.
Yeah.
One more thing, go to the advanced option here or general maybe. Let's look at few more things are there. Okay, as a best practice, not here. Go to yeah, primary or mode option. Somebody was asking, right? Go to advanced again.
Yeah, there's a node option. Yeah.
Yeah, here primary node option is there. So in cluster environment, you can go ahead and use this. And metadata, right? Again, metadata,
Yeah.
this will help you a lot. Okay. So if you know the file content, you can upload the metadata here and start testing your code instead of running the flow again and again. Then in the general section, go to general section. In the general section, let's say you are reading a file, okay, and on the source folder, let's say there is a setting that once you read it, your file is gone. Okay, that file will be deleted. Now in future, you wanted to see that what file was read or what file was there during the processing, right? So you can have here down there, maybe go down, you can archive this file. Okay, auto delete is false right now. You can say delete it, move that to the some archive location.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's a more option.
yeah, so this will give you a better option. Most of the time when I worked on it, right, so I'll read the file, I'll encrypt the file, I'll send it to the target system, and target system was claiming that they're not able to read the file properly. So I have a proof that okay, this is what the file I have received. So any point of time you can go back and show that proof. Okay, this is what the file I have received from the source, and that's what I have encrypted and given to you. So in that case, you are not losing any data. Okay, once the file is deleted, right, you won't be able to get the source file again back. So these all are best practices I wanted to share. Okay, so that's all from my side. Rajesh, thanks a lot for the session,
Thank you
man.
so much,
You
Ashish, for
you
the
explained
add up.
in better way.
Thank you so
I
much.
was thinking like how much time it will take to explain that FTP and file connector, but you justified that. Okay, 1 hour. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And if you have any more questions, please post it in the chat, guys. Okay. Can you use the regex on file read connector? Like I want to read file starting number, ending with number. Yes.
Yes.
Regular expressions are supported by almost all the connectors.
There one more question. Is there a multiple file format which needs to be read? Then which one will read first? Is there any priority that we can set? We can set, but if you didn't set anything, it will read what based on the file or how it is in the folder. So there won't be any priority. It will read this type first.
Yes.
Okay. Any more questions, guys?
How encryption will happen in SFTP? Can you explain in brief? Encryption will happen. Is it like so that is a protocol, stuff, right? We don't need to do anything. Okay, SFTP will do that for us. And again, I'm
Yeah.
saying, right, entire year. So as I mentioned in the few minutes back, that FTPS and SFTP. SFTP will have only one port number for building your connection and your data transfer. So that will be completely encrypted, and that is taken care by SFTP itself. We don't need to do anything for that. Okay, just need to give the credentials. Okay, that will taken care by that protocol. Not, we don't need to do anything. But if you are looking for data encryption, then definitely we need to take care of it our own. Yeah, more questions, guys. We have time. If it's a better platform to discuss, okay. If you have more questions, please go ahead. Yeah, community experts are there. Maybe they will try to give you more their insights. Okay. Uh, I think we are good. Maybe Balkish, you can take over for the trivia quiz. Yeah, thanks, Abhishek. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Rashish, for that wonderful section.
Yeah.
Very
Thank you,
And
Ashish.
yeah, make it interactive, guys. Okay, so the intention of all these meetups, it's like to share the knowledge and get your doubts clarified. That's what we do, and that's what the intention of the meetups. Okay, so not only get the knowledge from the speaker, right? So always two minds think in two different ways. To always try to share. Okay, come up and share the knowledge uh, as much as possible. Okay. Okay, Balkish, over to you. Yeah.
yes.
Thank you, Virendra. Thank you for all those questions, man. Yeah.
And yeah, we'll start the quiz. So to the attendees, like these are the instruction we have. You shouldn't be a part of a meetup leader, and you shouldn't won any trivia quiz in the last 30 days. So if you are not in this case, you can attend the trivia. And yeah, for that you need to log in into www.kahoot.it. So after you start the play, click on the play button, you will get this page. So I will share you the game pin. You need to enter that game pin in your screen, and it will ask you to give you the nicknames. Nickname is, don't give your nickname. You can give please completely your name, so we can identify who you want that. Instead of giving a nickname, if you give the complete name, it will be easy for us to find you. And the question will be display in my screen. So in your mobile you can log in into your mobile, because that will be easy. If you will be see only the option color to choose. So question and answer, the option will be in my screen only, so better you can open this link in your mobile and you can answer it. Yeah, for each question it will be 20 seconds to answer. So if you are all ready, we'll start it. Just give me a moment, I will stop sharing. Start it.
I think you can rejoin, Balkish. I don't see you are there.
I'm here only, Ashish. You
No, no,
can.
no. I don't see in the you are there in the attendee list, but I don't know
Okay.
why it's not showing as a host. Let me
So you
check.
want me to rejoin again?
I don't know. You just rejoined, okay?
Okay.
Just don't end the session, okay? Make sure. Yeah. Meanwhile, if anybody any questions are there, we are happy to answer. Please go ahead. Yeah, you are back now.
Okay. Classic mode. So this
Yeah.
is the game, guys. 600867. Yeah.
Rajesh, do you have any idea on this question? How can we reduce the file transfer time from one SFTP to another SFTP server?
Can we
Hmm.
reduce the file transfer time from one SFTP to? No.
For large size file. So, Sahil, are you reading that file in your MuleSoft? Via MuleSoft, you want to transfer? Yes. Okay, then streaming option is a better option. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you, can you log the? Can I start, Ashish?
Yeah, just a second. Yeah, so there are multiple options. Okay, so best practices, you better you read it. Okay, so when we are reading the file and transferring, right, it's a network call. So most of the time in data view, what we do, we forgot to make it indent false. Indent false is it's a small property, but it play a big role while transferring data over a network. Okay, when you are transferring XML, when you are transferring JSON, make sure you make that property equal to false. Okay, so that will take lot of, I mean, it will save a lot of space. You can clearly see. Okay, you test it via data view. You will see the difference between the size of the file, same content, but the only property set it indent false, indent equal to false, then it will give you the difference in the size. So when you're transferring that over the network, definitely you can reduce that time. Okay, yeah, we are good to start. Balkish, go ahead.
I'm working, so we start.
Yeah.
So first question: how many operations are available under SFTP connector? 6, 7, 9, 11.
Hey Prabhakar, don't paste it here. Okay, you need to answer on your mobile. Okay, we have explained, right?
Yeah, I explained it.
Yeah.
Okay, only
Okay,
three
next
points.
question. Yeah, thanks Prabhakar.
Yeah. Somali Abhishekan. Okay, we'll go for the next. How to read a file in Mule 4? It obtains the content and metadata of a file at a given path. It writes the content and metadata of the file at the given path. It reads and moves to another location. None. Okay. Let's go to the next question. How to list all the file information in Mule 4? Exclude folder. It will list by default from the file configuration setting. File matcher with the directories and regular files under file. File matcher without directories equal to exclude and regular files under file. None. Oh, cool. Okay, we'll go to the next. We may use regressive equal to false under file list for skipping subfolder in message flow. It's true or false. Yep. Many answered right. Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, we'll skip this because it's not a display. Honest. Please select the below correct expression while declaring a target path in expression mode. C colon 5 folder archive, C colon, you can see the option. Okay. Okay. The last question. To use the drag and drop UI of the transfer message component, you must define its input and output metadata. It's true or false. Okay. So the winner is Bhaskar. Congratulations. Please share your email ID in the chat. Annapurna, congratulations. And Maruf, congratulations, guys. Please share your email IDs in the chat. Yeah. And thanks everyone for joining the.
Congratulations to the winners.
Congratulations, everyone.
So at the
All the
start,
winners.
the same, you will be receiving the feedback link. Please give your feedback like, oh, however it is you want